During the Dark Ages, various means were used to suppress Christianity, including the use of torture on Christians and the burning of Bibles and the burning of Christians themselves at the stake. But since that has become politically incorrect and the Office of Inquisition has gone underground and has been renamed the Congregation for the Doctrine of the Faith to fool people around the world into thinking that the Office of Inquisition doesn't exist anymore. There are other means that are being used to discourage people from becoming Christians and from believing in the Bible. Some of the means that are being used nowadays are things like the belief in Darwinian evolution, and as I've said in some of my videos, Charles Darwin's expedition to the Galapagos Islands, whatever they're called, was actually funded by the Rothschilds. So we have Darwinian evolution, we've got the Big Bang, of which the Big Bang was actually, the belief in the Big Bang was created by a man called George Lemaitre, who was a Jesuit. That's another way of discouraging belief in Christianity. And we have things like these theories which can never be proved, such as this thing that King James was a homosexual and he was a Mason. Those things can be proved now, and I personally don't believe that. I believe that these things have been brought up to discourage people from studying God's word, of which the King James Version is a hated version of the Bible. Nowadays we have these spurious counterfeit Bibles that have been produced after 1890, and they're produced from Roman Catholic manuscripts, such as the Sinaiticus and Vaticanus. The Vaticanus is named Vaticanus because it was, in quotes, discovered in the Vatican Library. These are Catholic manuscripts which are used to produce counterfeit Bibles. So one of the other things that is being used to discourage belief in Christianity is this thing that Christianity is a white man's religion. I've heard this said many times, and I'm sure some of you watching have also heard this. And there are some who actually believe this, especially blacks. There are blacks who believe that Christianity is a white man's religion. How they can believe that, I'm not sure, because the Bible didn't come from Europe. Okay, so let's just read some of what I've got here to debunk this belief here that Christianity is a white man's religion. So we'll read about Abraham. Let's read about Abraham in Genesis 14:13. It says, "And there came one that had escaped and told Abram," this is before his name was changed to Abraham. Abram the Hebrew, you see that? Abram was a Hebrew. He was not a Caucasian or a European. It says here, "For he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, in the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abraham." So never mind what everything else that's going on around here. What we want to find out is why I put this text here, rather, is just to say that Abraham was a Hebrew. He was not Caucasian. In fact, if we look at the word Caucasian, there's an interesting article here. I won't read all of it. I just want to read here. It says where the word Caucasian comes from. It says, Nina Wieder, our resident expert on the Caucasus region, breaks down exactly why Caucasian became a widely used word for white people. A German anthropologist named Johann Blumenbach set out to create a system of labels for different races. Upon visiting the Caucasus Mountains, he became enamored with the appearance of the people there and determined that they had an ideal form of beauty. From then on, he would refer to Caucasians as those with European ancestry in his research and studies on racial anthropology. The U.S. legal system would later adopt Blumenbach's system, which is why the word is commonly used today. Okay. You see here, it clearly says here that from the time that this man here created a system for labeling races, of which I actually don't like using the word race when referring to different ethnic groups. There's only one race, and that's the human race. Okay. In the book of Acts, we read that God has made all. What does he say? He has made all nations of one blood. Okay, we're all we're all from the human race. There's no such thing as an African being of a different race to a European. But it says here, the point I was making is that they're saying from then on, after he came up with a way to classify these different ethnic groups, from then on he would refer to Caucasians as those with European ancestry. Okay. Oh, so Abraham was not from Europe. Okay, he was not Caucasian. He was a Hebrew, and so let's read here what a Hebrew is. Okay, or what Hebrew is. Hebrew is a Semitic language belonging to the Northwest Semitic branch of the Afro-Asiatic language family, historically spoken by the ancient Israelites, and currently the official language of Israel. So Hebrew is a language. The term also refers to the Hebrew people. Okay, Hebrew is a language, but it can also refer to a certain type of people. And it says there, the Hebrew people are an ancient Semitic-speaking group considered the ancestors of the Jews and Israelites, primarily identified as the descendants of the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The word Hebrew is derived from the name Eba, or the root meaning to cross over. So the word Hebrew means to cross over, originally designating Abraham as an immigrant who crossed the Euphrates River into Canaan. I also saw somewhere else that it said that the word Hebrew can also mean foreigner. Okay, that's what it means here, to cross over, is to travel from one place to another. While the language was largely replaced by Aramaic after the Babylonian exile, it survived as the liturgical and scholarly language of Judaism before being revived as a spoken vernacular in the 19th and early 20th centuries. So where was Abraham from? We know that he crossed the Euphrates. But it says here in Genesis 11:31, and Terah took Abram, his son. So Abram's dad was Terah, and Lot, the son of Haran, his son's son. So Lot was the nephew of Abraham. So Terah had these sons here, Abraham and Haran. Haran's son was Lot rather, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, his son Abraham's wife. Okay, Sarai was Abraham's wife. She later on, her name was changed to Sarah, just like Abraham's name was changed as well. And they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees. Okay, so Abraham and his family were from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. So Terah had a son called Haran, who passed away, I think, maybe fairly young. But there was also a place called Haran. Okay. And then in Genesis 15:7, we read that, and he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee this land to inherit it. Ur of the Chaldees is in the Middle East, it's not in Europe. Then there was Bethuel, who we read about in Genesis 25:20, and it says, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. Okay, so Bethuel was the dad to Rebekah, and Laban is referred to as a Syrian, excuse me. These are not Caucasians or Europeans. In Genesis 28 verse 5 it says, "And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padanaram." I don't know if I'm saying that properly. Padanaram, yes, Padanaram, unto Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. Okay. And then with regards to Laban, we see that Laban is referred to as the Syrian. Okay. Bethuel, who was actually Laban's dad, is referred to as a Syrian. Laban was a Syrian. Syria is in the Middle East. Okay. Genesis, I think I've read this already. Genesis 28:5. I read that already. Genesis 31:20. And Jacob stole away unawares to Laban the Syrian, in that he told him not, that he fled. And God came to Laban the Syrian in a dream by night, and said unto him, Take heed that thou speak not to Jacob, either good or bad. We are very clear. Laban was a Syrian, because it is from the genealogy of these people that I'm reading about that we get the nation of Israel. Okay, and which is where we got the Bible from. It was Israelites who wrote the Bible, or Hebrews who wrote the Bible. It was not Europeans who wrote it. Genesis 9:22. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brethren. And Shem and Japheth took a garment and laid it upon their shoulders, and went backward and covered the nakedness of their father, and their faces were backward, and they saw not their father's nakedness. And Noah awoke from his wine, and knew that what his younger son had done unto him. And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. There's also this myth that Africans are cursed. That's why Africans have had to go through slavery and colonization, and in fact, even neo-colonization, which is still going on today, with the theft of minerals from Africa by multinational companies, with the assistance of African leaders who are involved, who are getting paid by these multinational companies that are drilling for oil and stealing, mining for gold and diamonds and lithium and all sorts of things in Africa, which doesn't benefit the Africans at large. So I was just saying that there's a myth that Africans were cursed, that Noah cursed, when Noah cursed, and in fact they'll say that Noah cursed Ham. No, he cursed Canaan, who was the son of Ham. As you see here, Canaan is not. We know that Canaan is in the Middle East, not in Africa. But some of these places around the world are named after different Bible characters. So the place that was called Canaan, which we know to have encompassed modern day Israel, and the other countries in the Middle East were actually named after Canaan, Canaan was Ham's son. Okay. So this belief that Africans are cursed is not true. It just shows a lot of ignorance. It's Canaan who was cursed, not Africans. I'm not sure if I finished reading this. Let me just read again. And he said, Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. So like I was saying, this is normally applied to Africans, but as you can see, the one who was cursed was Canaan, and Canaan, after Noah and the sons of Noah and their descendants moved, their sons moved different parts of the world. Canaan moved to the Middle East, not to Africa. Jesus was from the tribe of Judah. Genesis 49:10, the scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. Shiloh is referring to Jesus. Okay, the scepter is a rod that's used by someone who's ruling. Okay, a scepter shall not depart from Judah. Jesus came from the tribe of Judah. Hebrews 7:14, for it is evidence. This was Paul writing. He said, "It is evident that our Lord," speaking of Jesus, "sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood." Yeah, Jesus was from the tribe of Judah. He was not from Europe. of which the tribe of Judah was one of 12 tribes that came. It was one of the 12 tribes of Israel, of which the name Israel actually was given to Jacob after his name was changed. There are many characters in the Bible that had their names were changed, including Paul. So Saul became Paul, the evangelist. And then we have Job 30:30 in terms of this thing of ethnicity and trying to find out where the Bible came from and what the people in the Bible actually looked like, just to debunk this false belief that Christianity is a white man's religion. What did the Bible characters look like? I think we're in the book of Job. Job 30:30, my skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat. Okay, doesn't mean that Job was or perhaps he was a black African, but perhaps he was of course, we don't read of the phrase black African. Perhaps Job was black. Okay, not everyone who is mentioned in the Bible was a Hebrew. Okay, perhaps Job was black. Okay, but let's read also here Songs of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 5. It says, I am black, but comely, O you daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon. And then Songs of Solomon, next verse, chapter 1, verse 6. Look not upon me because I am black, because the sun hath looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyard have I not kept. In fact, before I finish off with this last verse here, let's just go. Remember, I said that Job could have been black. Maybe not necessarily, but it definitely wasn't European. Okay, let's go and look at this verse here in the Strong's Concordance, Job 30:30. So let's use the online one. Job 30, verse 30. Sometimes when it says black, it doesn't mean, because of course we Africans tend to be referred to as black. But if you look at my skin, I'm actually not black. I'm brown. Okay. And of course, even those that we call white are actually not white. They're more like my daughter used to say when she was still small. She used to say that Europeans are peach, which is kind of closer to the truth. Okay. I've never seen a white person in my life, and I've never seen a black person. So part of the reason why there are many who believe that Christianity is a white man's religion is because of the media, and I'm referring specifically to movies that have been made of Jesus. Is that this Jesus is actually shown as a white man. So if you see here, there's a movie called The Life of Jesus, in which Jesus is depicted as a European. Okay, and then we have the Jesus film, which actually has a lot of views on it. It's got 19 million views. Okay, Jesus is depicted as a white man. But I think I read somewhere that this man here in this video who played Jesus in the Jesus film was actually Jewish. But of course, the Jews nowadays in Israel are not biblical Jews. They're actually from Ukraine, most of them. We've got this one here. What's this one called? I think it's just called Jesus from 1999. Jesus is shown as a white man. And we've got the Gospel of John, which is also has a lot of views on it. Shows a white man as Jesus. Okay, and of course this is the same one that I showed you earlier of the so-called Jesus hanging on the cross. Okay, it's the same movie. There are many movies about Jesus that have been made, but I think almost all the characters we see this one, The Life of Jesus Christ. I think it was made by the Mormon Church. It's got 10 million views. There are many others which will probably not come up here. but I think in all of them, except perhaps for one, let me see. There's one which I've seen. I think it's also called the Gospel of John. I think it's the only one. This one here even depicts Jesus as having not only European but having blue eyes and stuff. That's not what Jesus looked like. Jesus was not white. Okay, this is what causes many, especially Africans, maybe Asians as well, to reject Christianity because they think it's a white man's religion. Of course, we've got this one here. It's more recently has been made. I can't remember what this one is called, but this guy is actually a Knights Templar. The one who plays Jesus is actually a Knights Templar. Most of them are Europeans, but they play Jesus. So of course we've got the one that was made by Mel Gibson, The Passion of the Christ. I can't remember the name of the actor who played Jesus, but he also played. Has been in other films as well, including one called The Sound of Freedom. Jim Caviezel, I think his name is. He played Jesus. Okay, all these characters are white. That's what causes people to think that Christianity is a white man's religion. But they're basing it on these movies, and even I'll show you here paintings as well, which show Jesus as a white man. So here you have a painting called The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. For those maybe who've never heard me say this, I actually studied art and design at the Harare Polytechnic in Zimbabwe. We studied art history. Yes, definitely these paintings were done by Europeans. Leonardo da Vinci was not the only person to do paintings of Jesus and the disciples. There were. So of course, Leonardo da Vinci was, if I remember correctly, was Italian. He invited his relatives to pose for him so he could paint them and draw them. So here you see that Jesus is depicted as being white, and the disciples as well. So that's where these kind of beliefs come from. That Christianity is a white man's religion. No, like I said, I'll show you which religion is a white man's religion, but it's definitely not Christianity. Yeah. So I just thought I would share that with you because I think that's where a lot of the thinking comes from. That Christianity is a white man's religion. Yes, Swarthy. This is the word I was looking for. See here the word Swarthy. I can't remember exactly where I found this word, but I saw it somewhere in Strong's Concordance. And when I went on my search engine, that's how I found that word. I was looking up what that word actually means because it wasn't explained. Wherever I saw that word, it wasn't explained very well. Just maybe try and find it here. Okay, yeah, I can't remember exactly where I saw it. I saw it. It was either on the online concordance, this one here, or on eSword. And then when I went to look it up, when I found that word, I went to look it up on here, and it said that person who is described as swarthy is actually dark-skinned or olive-skinned. See here, sometimes olive-skinned. So clearly, those who are these characters that we read about in the Bible, they were definitely not Europeans. Okay, they were from the Middle East. I think I've made that very clear from the beginning when I described where they were from. Abraham was from the Middle East, from Ur of the Chaldees. Laban and Bethuel were referred to as Syrians. Yeah, and of course, Jesus was from the tribe of Judah, of which Judah was a son of Jacob, whose name was later changed to Israel. None of these people were from Europe. Now, there's a man, I forget his name now, but let me just look it up here on YouTube. There's a man who has a lot of truth, who presents videos and podcasts. Recently, he was interviewed on germ warfare. I don't know how many of you know Jeremy Nell. He calls himself Germ on YouTube. So he interviews different people from all walks of life, and he interviewed this guy recently, and not for the first time. He interviewed this guy from Globe Busters, I think. He has a YouTube channel called Globe Busters. I forget his name. And the point of looking this man up is because he believes that you know, some of the Bible has been tampered with, and when the Bible talks about Israel being in the Middle East, it's incorrect. That it's actually Israel was in Ireland and all this stuff, and which is there are many theories out there, and it's very easily to get to get hooked on many of these false theories, but. I was just trying to find this guy now. I can't remember what his name is, but yeah, that's what he believes. He believes that Israel was what we know today as Ireland, and I think he's referring to the Republic of Ireland. Is where Israel was in ancient times, which is not true. I think it's very clear from when you read the Bible, and it talks about the neighboring countries next to Israel. So this person who says that. Israel, Ireland, what we know today as Ireland, was actually what was Israel in the past. Who are all these neighbors of Israel? He talks about the Hebrews who became slaves in Egypt. Going on an exodus after they've been rescued miraculously by God by these 10 different plagues. They then moved from Egypt to Israel. So who is Egypt then? It also mentions the Ethiopians and all these different nations, Gog and Magog, and Syria, like what I've just read earlier about Bethuel and Laban being Syrians. So it's not true that ancient Israel was in Europe or ancient Israel was in Ireland. I mean, even in what I've presented just here in this video, it's easy to disprove that. So very clearly, the Hebrews were from the Middle East, and of course, and I think some of you know that I've explained this before, that those who are being called Jews today are not biblical Jews, and if you look at them, most of them are clearly Europeans. In fact, even Benjamin Netanyahu, who some say he was killed by a missile that hit the building that he was in, and that there's some who claim that all the videos and the pictures that we're seeing of Netanyahu now are just AI. That could be true. I don't know, but I was just explaining about Benjamin Netanyahu is not actually from Israel. He's from Poland, and in fact, Netanyahu is not his real name. Many politicians have changed their names there for various reasons. But Netanyahu's real surname is Milkowski, and there's some say that President Milei from Argentina is actually related to Benjamin Netanyahu, because if you look at the name, there's quite a close resemblance there, or similarity rather. That Benjamin Netanyahu's real name is Milkowski, and then President Milei also has this part of his name that's close, similar sounding to Benjamin's Netanyahu's real name. Benjamin Netanyahu is actually from Poland. So this thing about him being an Israelite and all this is not true. They may speak Hebrew, of which, from what I hear, the Hebrew that they speak is actually corrupted. It's not the same as what used to be spoken by ancient Israel. So I don't know if I've left anything out. I mean, if some of you have got anything else to share, you can put that in the comment section. I would really like to hear your thoughts and anything that you may have studied and researched on this topic or a similar topic. So the point of sharing this was just to say there are many things being thrown at us to stop us from believing in God's word in the Bible, and also to reject Christianity, of which there are many things that are being said and done to discourage our belief in Christianity, of which some of which I have not mentioned, but this is one of many things that's being said to, and this actually, it hooks many Black Africans, because when they start hearing this, and they if they are ignorant, have not really done enough research, it kind of triggers them into thinking, why would I follow a white man's religion? After being fooled or deceived into believing that Christianity is a white man's religion. When they hear that Christianity is a white man's religion, they start thinking, I'm not going to follow Christianity. Why? Because white men or Europeans colonized Africa and were behind the slave trade. And of course, I know that Arabs were also involved in the slave trade, but so it's kind of it triggers certain emotions in Black Africans. It makes them think, I don't want to be part of a religion that was involved in colonization and the slave trade, especially slave trade, because there are many souls that suffered and died because of the slave trade. There are many, in fact, Black Africans who were thrown into the sea because maybe food on the ships that were traveling was running low and things like that. So the fact is, it's not true. Christianity is not a white man's religion. In fact, in the next, soon anyway, I can't say exactly when, but soon I'm going to make a video showing you which religion is a white man's religion. There is a religion that can be termed a white man's religion, and it's definitely not Christianity. But I'll make a video about that soon, God willing. But thanks for watching the video, and thanks for listening to me rumble on. I hope everything I've said makes sense. But yeah, you can share your thoughts in the comment section. But I'll see you in the next one.